We have a full house today. I'm your host, Ashwin, joined by Varun in Singapore, DJ in London, as the IPL 2024 has come to a conclusion and the Kolkata Knight Riders have been crowned pretty well deserving champions. Varun, let me come to you and start just for an overall reaction after what, I don't know how many days it is, like 75. It feels like it gets longer every year. So many days of IPL cricket. And we're 6 days away from a World Cup. But how are you feeling at the culmination of the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, I was thinking March 22nd, I think it started, and it's just felt like forever. I think we've all taken holidays in between. We've come back. The IPL has still been going on, and it it is great. It does feel long, but I mean, it's the best part of my year, so I wouldn't trade it for anything. And yeah, congrats to KKR. I think the team that dominated the league stage. Unfortunately, as Indian fans, we're not used to them winning, but great that they ended up on the winning side as well.
Yeah, and we have a lot. We'll talk a lot about it. And if this is your first year listening to the Edges and Sledges podcast after an IPL, first off, thank you for being a new listener. If you've done this before, you know we'd like to have some fun with it at the end. So stay tuned for probably the second half of the show, and we'll name our team of the tournament, if you will, our 11 of the tournament. But it'll be with a little bit of a twist because everybody else has already done their 11s of the tournament. DJ, let me ask you, coming into kind of the finals, none of us. Before March 22nd, Varun and I talked about this a little bit last week. Before March 22nd, we all predicted playoff teams. We didn't actually try to predict winners, which was probably wise. Not a single one of us had KKR in our top four. I think the general feeling was Narayan and Russell are getting a little bit older. We'd all thought Stark would underperform, and then we were all validated for most of the season until, of course, he came good. I mean, has this team overperformed, or is it just one of those teams that weren't didn't get their sort of the credit they deserved when you looked at their team on paper?
Well, it's one of the vagaries of the IPL, right? Like, if you manage to predict all four teams in the playoffs, then there's something that's not going right with the tournament, because the beauty of T20 cricket is how unpredictable it is. And yes, none of us had KKR in the top four. We did think Russell was past his prime. We did think Narayan was past their prime. And what tournaments those guys had, especially Sunil Narayan, I mean, like, fantastic kind of MVP performance from that guy. Russell, you could see how emotional he was by the end of it. He was like crying, and it was like, okay, what? You could see
But I
them
think
putting them.
it was his first title with KKR, which I realized later, because he played for Delhi till like
Is that right?
2015, 2016. I
That
think
hurts to
I
think about
think so.
actually
I
again.
think so.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know even Pat Cummins played for Delhi
I thought you were
back
going
I
to
in the
say
mean,
day?
at
He had
this
he had
point,
a
KKR.
everybody has, dude.
he had a Daikin shirt at one point when I saw one picture
I
of him. And
remember
of
that.
course,
Yeah.
Shreyas Iyer is to captain Delhi. So we are the feeder academy that continues to feed the champion teams. But now, coming back to the point, I mean, Mitchell Stark, eh, that was unbelievable. I mean, he did nothing for the entire tournament before turning up in the playoffs and bowling probably the two balls of the tournament. I mean, the one that he bowled in the final, we'll come to it, but what a time to pull that out of your locker, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if you think about it, at the end of the day, Mitchell Stark got two Player of the Match awards in the KKR's last two games, right, including the final. Sunil Narayan ended up Player of the Series, I think, and so just a lot of positives. But Varun, let's run through the week that happened, right? You got a lot of questions, including some of our listeners, right, in about this format of the qualifier, then the eliminator, then the second qualifier, and the final, right? And the idea just being obviously qualifier one is teams ranked 1v2, and the team that loses still has one more shot, right? We ended up the week with four games. I was trying to summarize it. KKR beat Hyderabad twice, both times by 8 wickets, both times chasing a total down with more than 7 overs to spare. And then Rajasthan beat RCB. Rajasthan was the higher ranked team. SRH beat Rajasthan. SRH was the higher ranked team. And so basically, we finished the IPL the way the points table finished. That doesn't happen that often, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't, because you got CSK and Mumbai Indians who are like playoff kings, and they always manage to find a way to kind of turn that around. But yeah, talking about the format, I think yes, I think it's a great format. Like, you reward the best performing team, and you could see even at the end, once we had three out of the four teams finalized, everyone was still fighting for that top two spot. Like it was an RR thing, and then SRH found a way back. The rain impacted the games. So there is always something to fight for till that last game because of this format. It rewards the top two teams. And honestly, like you can have a bad day in a knockout, right? Who knows that better than us? So if you get a chance to go straight to the final and a second shot if you have a bad day, I love the format.
When you said who knows that better than us, I was like, is the us in question Delhi fans or India fans? But the fact
No,
that it's
that
both
has
is
to.
bad.
I mean, Delhi hasn't made it to enough playoffs, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So it
that's
is
fair.
No,
India.
but Delhi was the one that got knocked out in the 2009 game, which was a knockout without the playoff format. So the Daredevils got done by a single innings by Adam Gilchrist, right?
And
And the
then Delhi
Deccan
topped
Chargers.
and then Delhi topped
Yeah,
the table under Shreyas Iyer's captaincy and lost in
yeah,
the playoffs there too, right? So
yeah.
right, DJ, we're going to spend most of our time on the final, but I want to do a quick rundown of the matches that led up there, right? So the first qualifier, Hyderabad played KKR, like I said. This was the Mitchell Stark show, right? To sit here and say Travis Head, second ball of the qualifier, gets out 0 for 1. Then Nitish Reddy, then Shahbaz Ahmed. I mean, Rahul Tripathi actually, as Varun likes to say, did come to the party and made a lovely half century.
But
That's not
wasn't the
quite the
best
same.
moment when he sat on the stairs because I think he's too tired to climb up all those stairs at the Namo Stadium. He just sat down on the bottom of the stairs.
Phenomenal. I mean, yeah, but the playbook was sort of written at this point, right? Hyderabad ended up making 159, and then both the Ayers made half centuries in a phenomenal chase. This was the first. I'm probably missing an important knock, but this is the first time I felt like Shreyas was trying to stamp his authority. Now you could argue he walked in at 67 for 2 in a pretty small chase, so it was fine. But at 67 for 2 in 6 overs, chasing 160, they could have taken 18 overs, and they got it done in 13. Was that the captain trying to say he's here, and just because he hasn't needed to do that much doesn't mean he wasn't capable of it?
Yeah, I mean he was making a statement, I think, because tournament. Remember, Phil Salt left, but
I think we might be having some technical
yeah,
issues,
yeah.
but Varun, can you
Can you
still
hear
hear
me?
me? All right, DJ's back. There he is. Keep going.
Yeah, I was just saying that Salt and Narayan did most of the batting for the first half of the tournament, but he didn't have to do much. But when the time came, he finished it off with, I think, a 6, 4, 6, and 6, right? But that's not a bad way to get a 50, boost some fantasy points for me, and take your team into the final, which is important, right? Because you don't have to play an extra match on Friday, which is 2 days before the Sunday final. And in a tournament where you've got 2 months, grueling schedule, travel, etc., that just gives you a break to just take it in a little bit. So the importance of not only finishing top two, but winning that first qualifier is immense, right? Because you just put your feet up for the rest of the week until Sunday.
Yeah, I think well said. It was a fairly one-sided qualifier, and I want to come back to this, Varun. We'll come back to it at the end, but I could have opened by saying this was maybe the most boring IPL final in the history of the tournament. And that's very disappointing after what was a decent season. But there's also a lot of people saying the 500 plus run games and stuff was not actually that great a season. But we'll come back to that. But let's talk about the Eliminator. A heartbreak for everybody who's a Kohli fan. But in the grand scheme of this season, probably a fair result, right? So RCB made 172. Kohli looked like he was going to look good, made 30, got 30 odd runs, I think 33, and then just fell short. And lots of 20s and 30s. And we've seen this play out with RCB so many times. And then Jaiswal looked good, Riyan Parag looked good, and then at the end, it got closer than you'd think it should have been. But Hetmeyer and Rovman Powell got them over the line. I mean, the fair result for RR to win this one. Full credit, by the way, to Avesh Khan. Phenomenal spell. He looked just absolutely on fire. Picked up 3 great wickets. But yeah, the right result.
Yeah, I think so. I think two quick comments, right? One is RCB had all the momentum, and I really thought they were going to do it. Like, not win the trophy, but I thought they were going to make the final because just the run they had, that self belief, they came into the playoffs with less than 1% chance of making it. They had everything going. People were finding form at the right time. I I think I do blame Maxwell a lot for this. That was a ridiculous first ball duck that he got, and
Do you want to hear his?
that's
Do you want me to jump ahead and you want to hear his stats for the season?
yeah, please. Let me take a guess. His average is probably 5.
DJ, do you have a guess without looking?
9.5.
5.78
That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
at the end of an entire season.
wow.
9 matches,
That's hard.
9 innings, 52 runs. 52 runs. I mean, Shreyas outscored him in one match. I mean, so many guys outscored him. Anyway, sorry, Varun, didn't mean to
Yeah, but I
interrupt you.
blame Maxwell, man. Like I think that sucked the entire momentum out of
Yeah.
their run. And then RR, man, the team who's totally opposite, who didn't have any momentum and showed why. Like they just botched up that chase. They won it in the last over, I think. And I
Rahman.
yeah, I just don't get it, man. They're a good looking team. Yes, they lost Butler, but I still think they had enough uh, to go further than they did. Jaiswal was finding some form. Samson has been good, but again, something about this guy, he just doesn't do it in the big matches. And it was just overall an ugly sort of a game because you were watching this and as Kohli fans, you're like, come on, this is possible. And then I think Cam Green bowled a disaster of an over. So all round, I would say pretty poor cricket from both sides. Almost felt like they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. But remember that RR had that magnificent run. So yes, in hindsight, you could say the better team made it through.
Yeah, it's always tough because as much as RCB did have the momentum, they also it's not easy to win 6 games in a row. It's definitely not easy to win 7 when the seventh is in a knockout scenario. So you understand it and you feel for them. But yeah, another not great match. And then that took us to DJ. You have anything to add before we go to
I have a
Chepak?
question about the RCB. Did they over celebrate after just making the playoffs? Because there was a school of thought which felt that they and I mean, obviously, people were pleased that they got into the playoffs. But do you think a lot of the emotion had been like focused on getting into the playoffs, so there wasn't much left to go
Man,
for the?
so
There's
so
not
my
much gas left in the tank.
So my answer there is no, I don't think so. I think when Vern mentioned it, there were less than 1% probability by most measures. Many websites were rounding down and it was saying 0% they
Hmm.
can't make it. And they made it. So I'm of the belief that you got to celebrate every milestone as you get there, every win, qualifying, etc. is worth it. I think if they had qualified and then still kept their head down and said, no, but the job isn't done, it would have been a very different type of energy. Now,
Mm,
obviously, it didn't work for
mm,
them, but I don't think that was a
yeah.
driver.
And I don't think you guys picked up. Maybe you guys did the episode last week before the news broke about the Dhoni handshake drama. Did you guys follow all of that?
We talked
Yeah.
about it briefly.
That's I don't know,
But
man.
but
Like I
if
don't know what to
you
make of that. It's a
Varun's
bit.
point of view, I think, was that he did wait, and while RCB was celebrating, he said, "Chalo, main ja raha hu." And so he just fled. But I don't know if there's
I
more
saw
to it
I
or this
saw another video of it or image where
different angle.
basically the two Chennai batsmen hadn't even made their way back to where Dhoni was standing, and so it felt like it hadn't been that long. But yeah, he still shook hands with all the other players. But yes, when the next day videos showed up the final where they beat Gujarat and Dhoni was celebrating, but made it a point to go there. I mean, honestly, it's only because it's Dhoni that we're
It's
discussing this.
drama,
Otherwise,
right?
nobody cares. And to your earlier question about celebrating, I mean, I think Kohli celebrates like that for like the eighth or ninth wicket, even in a first innings test match. So I don't think it was overdone.
I
Yeah,
think
fair,
that's
fair, fair.
well said and fair. And from there, then 2 matches in Ahmedabad, went to Chepak. Hyderabad played against Rajasthan. DJ, was this a sign of things to come in the final match where Hyderabad's batting first, the most destructive opening pair in all season? Within 5 overs, not both of them, but within 5 overs, Abhishek as opener, Tripathi at 1 down, and Markram at 2 down, had all been undone by a left arm quick. In I think it was at 4.6. Yeah, all three were gone. Left arm quick, who was swinging the ball. Immediately, Mitchell Stark is watching that, having just won the game for his team at a different stadium. Mitchell Stark is watching that, saying, "I can do this too." Right? I mean, how great was Trent Bolt, and why does he always seem to show up in these big moments?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic, right? He's another Delhi player, ex-Delhi player,
Mhm.
if I'm not wrong.
As is
We just
Avesh, as is I mean,
keep
we
training
can
them.
Sanju. I think
We
all of
keep
them.
training.
As his head
No, but he
and
was
Abhishek
fantastic,
Sharma.
right? And Abhishek, we'll come to Abhishek
No,
Sharma
I
because
mean,
he only made 12 or 5 in this, I think.
Yeah,
And the Travishek opening partnership didn't do
I was
much,
calling
but
it heady shake, but Travis Shake may be better.
Headishake.
Heady shake sounds like headache, and there've been a headache for every other team, and it was
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's move on.
The important stuff.
So Travis Shake or Heady Shake didn't really make any runs, but it was kind of like you'd expect Chennai to take spin, but the opening damage was done by Bolt, right? And as you say, Stark would have been licking his lips. The other crucial factor here was there was no dew, right? And so SRH, I think, won the toss and decided to bat, which is what they've done throughout the tournament, right? Because they've been the ones breaking all the records, and so maybe that was a good decision because there was no dew that came down, unlike in Ahmedabad, which was affected by dew.
Yeah, so I mean, Hyderabad made 175. Rajasthan, you'd think they're able to chase it. Jaiswal actually looked pretty good, and just just completely fell apart. Right? You had, and I'll come to it, but Sanju Samson, Riyan Parag, Ash, Hetmeyer, Powell, nobody was able to bat. I mean, at the end of it, fell short by more than 30 runs. It's just a very, very disappointing chase. Varun Dhruv Jurel, in a losing cause, looked like he might give them some hope at the end there, but in a losing cause, made a nice half century. How important was that for him? Off of the back of what has been a pretty subpar season, honestly.
Yeah, look, he's not. I don't think he's done enough to say that he's going to be retained by RR, but it's always good to play that knock just before this tournament finishes, and as you look back and think about it, people will remember his knock. So I think he did himself some favors. I think he helped his team, but overall, I mean, without that knock, like they were just barely going to touch 100. So gave the team a little bit of a respectable chance, but overall, nothing to write home about. I just feel like RR has done this too often. They're the opposite again. Like I keep saying, they're the opposite of an RCB, and somewhere somebody's got to stand up when it counts, and that's the difference.
Yeah. So I mean, well said. Sort of predictably, then Hyderabad versus KKR in the finals. DJ, you talked about how SRH or Hyderabad has been the team who's been putting big totals on the board. Pat comes out, wins the toss, says he wants to bat, sticks to the game plan, despite despite how it went wrong just a couple of days earlier, different city, different stadium. And Shreyas comes out saying, "Yeah, I would have bowled anyway." So of course, that's what captains do sometimes. But do you think they lost the match a little bit at the toss, or do you think that was the right call for Hyderabad given how their season has gone?
No, I think it is the right call for Hyderabad given what how the season has gone. Um, they backed themselves to put a big score on the total and then defend it with the likes of Natarajan, Bhuvaneshwar, and others, right? Again, the dew factor. If there's dew, you would want to chase because the ball comes on a bit better onto the bat in the second innings. They saw that there was no dew in the first game that they played there because they actually, unlike KKR, had experience of playing at Chennai and Chepauk before the final, right? So they were able to assess those conditions. The reality of it, and we'll get to it, is that they just didn't put enough runs on the board. Right? It was a ridiculous innings.
Yeah,
Man,
I mean,
I think they made a mistake by batting first, and it showed because when Stark went to his run up, you saw Abhishek on the strikers end, not Travis Head. And I think mind games, right? A team that is so dependent on these top two, you essentially have lost the game in the first 10 minutes of the game in the qualifier or whatever it's called. And you have put yourself in the same situation. Your openers are not in good form. Travis Head is duck something. And
Three ducks in the last four innings.
yeah, and that's why I think that you basically put yourself in a situation where your dependency on the openers is so high, and you lost the game before the power play was done. Now, it could have happened in the second inning, so nobody's stopping that and giving credit away from KKR. I just feel that you lost it too early. You didn't give yourself a chance.
yeah, I think that's well said, right? I mean, if you're sitting there at 21 for three within the power play, and you then need somebody to come out and play a big innings, and I thought this might be Klassen's night. It's the kind of knock he's played before. It's the kind of knock he's very capable of playing. Markram could have done something, and full credit actually. A lot of the memories will be Mitchell Stark, but full credit to Rana, Russell, and Varun who bowled the middle overs and closed it out. Right? It's not that uncommon to see a team stoop to 21 for three, but then they build back. And the KKR middle over bowlers just put the stranglehold on and gave them nothing, absolutely nothing back. So 113 for 10. Venkatesh Iyer this time came out, made a magnificent half century. It looked like it was going to be, it looked like it could have dragged on a little bit, and at the end, it almost did for about 4 or 5 extra deliveries. But phenomenal to see both the Ayers at the crease again, uh, finishing it off. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, definitely still one of my worst. Some recency bias, but one of the worst IPL finals I've ever seen. I mean, just in terms of it being boring, and then of course they had 90 minutes of downtime before the presentation, and all the
What
other
happened? The
hullabaloo.
chief guest didn't come because they expected a full match or what?
I'm
Has
not
to
actually
be
sure. Varun, do you
has
know
to
what
be
happened
something
there?
like that. No, I don't know. I would know something like that, but
Because they would have
no.
expected it to be 20 overs, right? Except it was over in 10 overs. So they were
So
like,
they had to kill
okay.
time, and Shahrukh was dancing, and this and that. Varun, let me ask you. A lot of the discussion already in the news has been Gautam Gambhir, right? At the helm in terms as a
GG
coach,
bhaiya.
obviously captained this side for a long time, Gigi Bhaiya, and has now coached them to a trophy. I want to ask you about Shreyas Iyer, right? Probably the one of the more understated captains in terms of media and being out there and doing things. Obviously, he seems to be pretty active on reels, which you know more about than me. But how brilliant a season has he had, right? Like he picked up captaincy for Delhi, took them to the playoffs, or topped the table, took them to the playoffs. Picked up. I mean, is he just a behind the scenes phenomenal leader? Is whatever he's doing in the change room working, field placements, championing his bowlers? I don't know what it is, but he's clearly like results are results, right?
Yeah, and look, he's dealing with two personalities, right? Ricky Ponting and Gautam Gambhir. So, some even a Rohit Sharma with a Jayawardene in that one Netflix series that we saw, it looked like Rohit had no role. Rohit has, of course, grown massively in the last 6 years, 8 years since that was shot. But I do think you're dealing with big personalities. I think you're dealing with people who know how to win, motivate, and so you just kind of need to take a little bit of a backseat and say, maybe this part of the job is taken off my plate and I need to focus on what's happening on the field. And so I do give Shreyas credit for what he's done. A lot of us had, make a lot of fun of him, but two teams in two finals, having won one of them, uh, given his back injury last year, he missed the IPL. He had a stellar World Cup. He was thought to have been faking a back injury in the test. He's lost his central contract, and he's come out and answered them like this, right? So I think again, it comes down to credit where it's due. Yes, I don't think he contributed as much, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes, you've got captains and like think about this. Rinku Singh didn't contribute to KKR's win at all. Like none of us, if somebody told us KKR is going to win, you're probably going to have written down that Rinku's going to win them at least 4 to 5 out of these 16 games. I don't think that even happened once.
Yeah, I think well said. And I think I sit back and say the player of the series is Sunil Narayan. And it's actually phenomenal that happened and that he delivered that season. DJ, before we wrap this section and take a quick break, Hyderabad played against KKR in the finals, obviously. Not a single player from the Indian T20 World Cup side was playing in that final. So actually, they got to get together early, go start doing their training, etc. Is that problematic in any way, shape, or form as you think about Team India selection versus IPL champions?
I mean, the Twitter memes were alight, right? Saying how Jay Shah has come up with the master plan to keep all the Australian players busy because
Yeah.
Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Travis Head, all of these guys were playing in the final. Look, and I think we spoke about this last week, maybe. Um, we were talking about how the Mumbai Indians has Rohit, Sky, Bumrah, um, I don't know, Hardik, four players out of the Indian starting 11 from the Mumbai Indians, which have finished bottom of the table, right? Um, it's a little bit weird not to have a single player from the two best teams of the tournament, being part of that Indian contingent that's gone. I mean, Rinku, I think, is a reserve, maybe. Iyer is not in the reckoning. Another point around what Varun was just saying, that Iyer's had a pretty rough time recently. But if you've got kind of seven, let's say you've got 14 players in the final, 14 Indian players in the final, maybe more with the impact sub, and none of them are in India's best 11. I actually don't know what that says about our selection. Either it says something about a selection or it says something about the quality of the IPL, right? I don't know.
But
I don't know what to make of it.
I mean, realistically, like only Varun Chakravarti and Abhishek Sharma would have. And the reason I'm saying that is because you realize that T20 is really the team sport. If everyone takes 12 wickets and everyone makes 300 runs, nobody stands out. But when everyone does that, you win the trophy.
Yeah, you need the Joginder Sharmas, man. That's the reality of it. You need the Jogis.
I can't think of a better note on which to wrap up this section. Take a quick break. We will be back to talk a little bit more about a debrief on what happened in the IPL. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're watching it live on YouTube, I think we're live on YouTube. We're going to play a quick game. So why don't you play along with us? So Varun, this is about the time of year when I think you were sending us. Everybody's sending their team of the tournament, right? Their best 11. Of course, you have Travis Head, some have Abhishek Sharma, you have Bumrah, you have Mitchell Stark is a little bit polarizing because there's recency bias, but you pick your best 11. So we are actually, for our listeners, we're not going to do that. For those of you who've listened to the show for a while, we typically do a different version of sort of awards. We've historically called them the Bakwaskar Awards. I don't know if that's politically correct, with Gavaskar being in the media recently with Kohli, etc. as well. But we're going to crown this year's what we're going to call the IPL 2024 Bakwaskar 11. Okay, so the way this format's going to work, I'm going to start listing by kind of segment of the 11, or maybe we call it 12 if we want to have an impact player. Some of my nominations for the who should qualify for the team. I'm going to have you guys talk about it, and then we make our final decisions as to who qualifies live on air. You guys ready to go, DJ?
Yeah, this is not quantifiable, right? Like you can say this guy won the orange cap, Kohli won the orange cap, Purple Patel won the purple cap,
Yeah.
but you can't quantify who is the worst. So
I mean, this
is
is
the genius of
100%
the show.
subjective. This is 100% subjective. That's why you listen to this
the
show.
best way.
The numbers are only part of the picture. All right, let's go openers, and let's call it top order. Okay, so let's pick the top 3 or 4. And I actually have a shockingly high number of nominations for this one, so I'm going to start writing down. Your first nominee, Quinton de Kock, 250 runs, average of 22.7, strike rate of 134. Okay. Second nominee, Devdutt Padikkal. I think this one
I was expecting you to have given us the Basra. Like, that's much easier to remember.
I'm not giving you. I mean, I can try to do math on the
No.
fly. Devdutt Padikkal. Remember, does anybody remember what I said Glenn Maxwell's average was? 5.78. Devdutt Padikkal, 7 innings, 38 runs, average of 5.43, at a strike rate of 71.69. Should we just go ahead and put him in?
No.
There's no debate. Okay.
Why you want him to play for India still?
I don't mind.
Fly him
but
out to the US.
All right.
But
All right.
I mean, yeah, okay, that's not. Okay, you give us the choices.
Quinton de Kock, Devdutt Padikkal. I have Johnny Bairstow on here. His average was 29. His striker was 152, so it's not bad. But his 298 runs in the season included a century. X that, his average was like 17. But he did make 108 not out in a match-winning cause.
In a record-breaking chase, actually.
In a record-breaking chase.
And he did the...
My next 2 come from the same team. David Warner, average of 21, strike rate of 134. Didn't end up playing the rest of the series, obviously, as Jake Fraser-McGurk came in. And Prithvi Shaw, average 24, strike rate 163. So for me, Shaw might be just have played well enough to miss out on this team. And then, DJ, this was on your list. It wasn't on my initial list, but I'll add in Rohit Sharma, average of 32, strike rate of 150. One again, like Bairstow, made a century, so that skews the numbers a little bit. But why don't we start there with openers? I have a few more for the top order. Actually, sorry, one more to throw in the mix for opener specifically. Riddhiman Saha, 9 innings, 136 runs, average of 15, strike rate of 118. So I have my thoughts, but I want to come to you guys. What do you guys think?
So I'm going to put my hand up for Devdutt Padikkal.
Okay.
He's definitely number 1 in the Bakwaskar 12.
Varun, I see you have a pen out, so you're taking notes, which is great.
I'm writing down. Dude, Devdutt Padikkal cannot be in there because he didn't open because of a certain guy called KL Rahul who just went and
Oh,
told the team
Varun has gone
management.
technical. Okay, we'll put
Fair,
him at number
But
3 then.
absolutely
Fair.
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 Yeah.
Go and
Padikkal
buy
into number
Padikkal
3.
because we need an opener, and then make him sit out.
And
And
make
for a
Rahul
few
play.
games, made him bat at number 3. But by the way, I'm going to do middle order batting because that's where my country needs me. So, yeah, he
Okay,
should not be
Padikkal's
there.
3 then. Fine.
Fair.
But we have to agree Padikkal had an awful season. He's 3 in this Bakwaskar 11. If he batted 3, he gets 3, right?
Do you,
It's majority wins, so yeah, sure.
Okay, let me give you the last 3 that I have in my top order nominations.
Yeah, why don't you give us? Why don't we choose the top 3?
Okay, wait. So you got these guys. They'll give you the last 3. Ajinkya Rahane, 12 innings, average of 20, strike rate of 123.
Now, see, that's the kind of stats you need to be selected for the World Test Championship final.
Yeah, but not for T20s to play 12 innings.
But there are no rest days, dude. So
Yeah.
in the
All right.
IPL, there are no rest days.
All right, 2 more. I'm going to run through this. This is a lot. I told you. I don't have nearly as many bowler nominations, so bowling's going to be easy. Rachin Ravindra, good knock late in the season. 1 good knock, but an average of 22. Strike rate was 160, so better than anybody else in
Smacking.
that.
Yeah.
And then Deepak Huda, maybe closer to middle order nomination, but 9 innings, 145 runs, average of 18, strike rate of 138. So Quinton de Kock, Devdutt Padikkal, Johnny Bairstow, David Warner, Prithvi Shaw, Rohit Sharma, Rahane, Rachin, Huda, and Riddhiman Saha. Let's pick our top 4.
So Huda
4 to
comes
5.
into me for 4. Padikkal 3. I think Quinny D takes the.
Quinny has to open, right?
Quinny has to open this Bakwaskar 11. Now that leaves an interesting question of who he opens with.
Man, for me, I mean, we've picked so many keepers before. I think Saha was abysmal, absolutely abysmal this season. Varun, what do you think? You've been quiet as you're taking.
I'm thinking Warner, man. Like, I thought he
Yeah,
was a
I think that was
disaster. I've
really
never seen Warner so bad. And if somebody told you that your top 3 are going to be Mitch, Warner, and Shaw, and you've ended the season with Jake, Purell, and Hope, I didn't see that coming. So to me, like, I think
That's
Warner
pretty
and
bad.
de Kock, man.
Now, we didn't establish this up front. Does this 11 have a 4-4 rule, or should we leave that
I
open?
was just thinking that as I said that.
And I was thinking, and as Varun was saying, we should get Quinny and Warner into open. I was like, maybe we should have a left hand, right hand, and get Rahane.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So you guys,
I might go for Jinx. I'm going to go for Jinx.
I think
just
Jinx.
to-
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Jinx, I mean, Bairstow was a close one. Warner was a close one. I think Jinx just looks so out of place playing T20 cricket, man.
I think we can eliminate Bairstow and Rohit because of their centuries. Like,
They got
even if
their
it's 1
100,
knock,
yeah,
that's
fair.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So Quinton, Warner, Devdutt,
Yeah. Let's
Jinx,
do,
and Saha. 4 out of these 5, basically, right?
Let's do Rahane and Quinton to keep the
Left hand,
lefty,
right hand,
righty, and the overseas mix.
So Warner can be in the 15. He can be the back.
Warner can be an impact sub.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. That's not bad. Not a
So
bad
we've got
start.
our openers. Number 3 is Devdutt. Number 4 for me is Huda.
Ashwin, do you
Yeah.
agree with Devdutt?
I mean, I agree that has to be there. I'm not getting into the
then that's
technical.
done.
So, yeah.
And number 4
But
for
they
me.
should
is
be
Five
captain
average of
or not.
5.4. Has anybody ever
Dude.
played this many innings and averaged less? That's got to be the
Yes,
stat.
Maxwell. Not
5.7. Maxwell was 5.7.
But yes, okay. So I agree.
So
Panikkar
Maxwell
Okay.
gets in at 5.
and
Clearly.
Huda, yeah, Maxwell is 5 too.
Okay, so your middle overs guys, middle order / all rounders. Again, a pretty long list. You guys aren't gonna like one of them. Robin Powell, 7 innings, average of 17, strike rate of 151 though. So you give him that. Glenn Maxwell, 9 innings, 52 runs, 5.78 average, 121 strike rate. So should we just go ahead and
He
write in
gets in
Maxwell?
he just gets in for that last shot against Ashwin also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just done. It's just done.
Okay.
I mean, if you're averaging 5,
Yeah.
then you decide to hit Ashwin first ball for 6. I mean,
That's ridiculous.
The
Just
odds are against you.
completely against you. All right, so we have our top 5. I'm backwards on order a little bit. This shows you how detailed my prep was. Aiden Markram I have in there. He had a very middling season, but he did average 24 and strike at 124. So maybe we leave him out for now. I then go slightly lower order. So I have David Miller. Again, think about Gujarat. A lot of these names are coming from Gujarat. 9 innings, 210 runs, average of 35 because he doesn't get out that much. Strike rate of 151. But he was a big part of Gujarat's success in prior years and just came up short. I do have this guy on here. Let's take a quick executive vote. Do we leave Hardik Pandya out? We know there's a lot going on right now with him. I don't know what rumors are true, founded, unfounded. He's going through a lot of personal stuff. Do you leave him out or does he still make the cut?
I
On
would leave him
cricketing
out,
numbers,
man.
what are his numbers on the cricketing front, man?
I
Forget,
always-
I mean, there's a
wickets.
lot of noise outside right now.
70% of his numbers are wickets or
Wait, say that again?
nothing. It was a joke which
Is-
clearly
is
you're
his-
not following the
Is
the
his
memes.
bowling average greater
I'm
than
not.
his batting average? Is the question.
That
And
is
what is the range?
an excellent question. I only have his batting stats. So I'm going to try to pull his bowling ones on the fly.
Because by number 6, you're getting into all-rounders territory, right?
Yeah, so his man, I'm gonna have a hard time doing this on the fly. But his batting statistics are 216 runs in the tournament, average of 18, and a strike rate of 143. Which strike rate is not too bad. No, that's the other Pandya. Okay, let's keep going. Varun, are we leaving him out? Is that the verdict?
I'll leave him out. I'll tell you why.
Okay, sorry. His bowling average is 35, so his bowling average is higher.
Wow,
But
nearly
double.
his bat.
But how many
No.
wickets did he take?
He picked up 11 wickets for 387 runs.
Yeah, so to me, I leave him out because A,
Fine.
he's got enough hate,
Fine.
and B, he was not the worst performer in that 11.
Who
in the
was the
Mumbai
worst
Indians.
performer
But
in
we
the
don't
Mumbai
have
eleven?
we don't have a Mumbai player in yet, do we?
Yeah, we
Interesting.
don't. I mean,
I think you've got to put him in, dude.
Okay,
Who's the worst
we'll come-
performer in
and
the
make
Mumbai
him
team?
captain because
Who was
that's
the-
his contract. We do need a captain.
We do need a skipper.
This is horrible.
I
I was feeling bad for the guy.
You were feeling so
And
bad.
now you're like, make it. He was like, exclude him from the 11. 2 seconds later, he's like, let's make him the captain of this rubbish.
Because
11
that's
that
what
we're putting
all his
together."
contracts have, a captaincy clause. Oh man, that was terrible. Okay, he's in the team.
Okay, so I guess we're going Maxwell 5, Hardik 6. Let me give you a couple other names, right? Dhruv Jurel, he redeemed himself late in the end,
He
but
didn't
again a
play
bad
much, though, I
season.
felt.
15
Didn't have too
innings.
much. Hey, he had that run out, which
He
was
played
weird, man.
More,
He played every game.
3x of Parikal.
195 runs, average was 24, strike rate was 138. I think he
That's
doesn't make the cut yet.
5x of particle nearly.
I do have two names that should potentially make the cut. Jitesh Sharma. Again, we have a lot of keepers. 12 innings. He came in as like he should play for India. Like he was right up there. 187 runs. Average was 17. Strike rate of 131. So Jitesh is up there. And then we have Hardik Pandya 1.0. Hardik Pandya 2.0.
Vijay Shankar.
7 innings, 83 runs. Average of 16. Strike rate of 115. Did not take a wicket. Didn't bowl, maybe. I mean, I feel like that. He only played 7 out of the 14, but I feel like that's a pretty good case to walk in at 7. I feel like, right?
Yeah, you could have Hardik Pandya 1.0 followed by
Hardik at
Hardik
6,
Pandya
Vijay Shankar at
2.0.
7.
Yeah, I would put that there
Yeah,
also because then
fair
you got Maxwell and Hardik to bowl, and Vijay as a backup. So you
Yeah.
could actually.
It's not a
just
bad
build
side.
4.
This is a pretty good side.
I
Karan.
mean,
The fact that we're going left hand, right hand. We've got these number of bowlers.
we still have 2
Excellent.
overseas slots to pick.
all right. Well,
So we're at 7, but we don't have a keeper.
we have like 3. Didn't we have
Quinny D,
Saha?
dude.
Didn't we have Quinny?
Quinny D's keeping.
Quinny, who didn't keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point. In the Bakwaskar 12, he's going to
Nice, dude. We covered all the bases.
This
We
is
have a
not bad. This is not a bad team. All
We
right.
have a captain, a wicketkeeper, a couple of all-rounders.
All right. You ready for number 8? This should be no debate, but I know you guys will fight me on it.
Shout out.
31.4 overs, 5 wickets for 309 runs, bowling average of 61.8, economy rate of 9.75. Of course, I'm talking about Shardul Thakur.
Yeah, I think he walks.
It was one of the worst bowling. I mean, I had to scroll really far when I sorted the stat by average to get to it. DJ?
Yeah, he came on as impact player a lot, though. So he didn't really bat. So he'll have to split into one of the bowling slots, not the all-rounder.
So 8, right? You think he play him at 9?
I think 9. I think you need.
Okay.
In the impact sub world, you need one more. They all bat one lower, right? Because you bat till 7.
True.
almost.
All right. I haven't thought that far ahead. All right. Let me give you a couple more couple more nominations that we'll discuss. I did have Ravi Ashwin on here. Objectively a pretty bad season right till the end. 9 wickets for 467 runs. Average of 51.8 and economy rate 8.5, which was not bad in a season like this, but it was not great, man. So
And
keep
he
that
picked up 2 or 3 in the last game, right? So
correct.
Before that, it was.
So keep that back pocket, but 9 for 467 is a pretty bad return. I do have the other Pandya on here. 33 overs, 6 for 255 was his stats. Average of 42, but his economy rate was solid. So he was basically bowling tight over, 7.7 economy
He
rate.
was not trying to take wickets.
So maybe he
in
doesn't
the
make the
middle
cut.
overs.
If we jump down to like probably numbers 10 and 11, Karan Sharma, 24 overs, 7 for 254, but economy rate of 10.6. So that's a pretty decent case. And then you start getting into, does somebody qualify for Bakwaskar if they don't play that many games? I feel like a shoe-in again should be Anrik Nokia. 6 games.
Oh, man,
6 games, 7 for 294. Economy rate of 13.3.
Yeah, Nokia for sure.
He
Number
Nokia's
11.
had an awful game, man. He had an awful series.
Okay, so we got
And
Nokia.
he was one of the Delhi retentions last time round.
So we're saying we have Nokia at 11, let's put him.
Yeah.
Vijay, not Vijay, Shardul at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I couldn't really find, I'm wondering if anything, if you
Spinner.
guys can recommend any other good spinners other than Karan Sharma.
Markande?
Markande was not good. Yeah, that's correct. That's a good shout. The only other one actually that stats were pretty
Mohit,
poor.
he had like a huge series.
So Mohit had the worst spell in history. His stats overall are not bad, but 4 over 0 for 73 was the worst spell in IPL history. And then you have Tikshana.
He definitely gets the Basil Thumpy award, which we've done
for sure. He got thumped. The thumper became the thumpy. You have Mahesh Tikshana actually. 20 overs, 2 for 144. So his average was 72. But he only bowled 20 overs in the whole tournament. And then I come back, like I said, Varun, one of the last names that was on my list, 1 for 129 in 3 matches he played. Average of 129 because he only picked up 1 wicket. Economy rate 12.9. Is Marco Janssen, who was a shoe-in in the Hyderabad side for you, and then basically didn't even play because of how bad he was.
And Travis Head can bat. That's why.
Can he though? Well, okay.
3 ducks and 4 innings.
Basically, I think we need the spinner, so we got to get Mayank Markande in there.
Yeah, let me pull up Markande's stats while you guys are talking about the others.
I think Tikshana, you said he only bowled 20 overs, but that's 5 games, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
5-4, that's quite a lot of games to go at 72 per wicket. I think Tikshana takes one of those slots, man.
That is correct.
And we have only 1 overseas left.
So Tikshana 5 games, he had 20 overs, 2 and only 2 wickets. So that's fair for sure. I'm trying to find Markande's stats while we talk. So I guess I could just.
And Nokia takes the other slot.
Mike Markande, 7 innings, 22 overs, 8 for 259. Average was 32.
Decent. That's decent,
not bad.
Right?
So
Strike economy rate 11.7, also not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He also played in some of those big scoring games where people scoring 250 plus, right?
So do we just need one final pacer? Is it Mohit?
We can go Mohit. We can also go Deepak Chahar, 23 overs, 5 for 202, average of 44. Also a very, again, somebody who on my list was like, man, if this guy can show up a little, he should be in India consideration because he knows how to bat. And he did not do himself any favors this year. All right, final thoughts, and then Varun, will you read back our 11 to us because you've been making the notes. I haven't.
Yeah. DJ, give me the final bowler.
I can't think of anyone.
So we had Shardul at 8 or Shardul 9, Nokia, Tikshana. So you're looking for one more quick, right? Then.
Yeah.
And Markande, because I do.
No, Markande is done.
Markande is not in, I think.
Yeah. He's not in. Okay.
Yeah, we got Tikshana in.
Yeah. You might maybe just give it to
Where's the Punjab bowlers? There must be some poor bowlers from Punjab because they finished 9th.
And now you're putting
Arshdeep didn't have a great season this season.
He wasn't bad though.
He wasn't bad. Let's see. Punjab bowlers. Harpreet, 7 for 303, average 43, but economy rate was sub 8. So that wasn't too bad. Yep. Rabada, 11 for 372, average is 33. So I think nobody was egregious, it
Yeah,
looks
no,
like, but nobody was good. Sam Curran, 16 for 416.
Yeah,
That's
but he
not
picked up a
bad.
lot of junks at the
Lots of
end.
junk. And then Ashley picked up 19 wickets, so I just excluded him on
Oh
the
wow.
number of
Okay.
wickets alone.
Yeah, fair.
I think let's just go with Mohit and
I think
throw
you
it
go with Mohit for 73
for the worst
runs.
spell in the
Worst
history of the
spell in
game.
history. Yep,
Yeah,
supportive.
fair. Done.
All right. So we've got Quinton de Kock and Rahane opening. We've got an overseas left, right, and wicket keeper. We've got Padikkal at 3, Huda at 4. We got then the all rounders Maxwell and Pandya, who I think people will pay a lot of money for. You've
Yeah.
got Vijay Shankar at 7, who's
I mean, that's a great
really,
5, 6, 7
it's
on
a pretty good
paper.
like,
Yeah.
and Vijay Shankar does better when Hardik Pandya is captaining. Oh yeah, and Hardik Pandya is a captain.
Yeah.
Then you got Shardul at 8. You got Tikshana at 9, Mohit at 10, and Nokia at 11. And because we have only 3 overseas, no, we got Tikshana and Nokia. So we got 4 overseas. So we're pretty sorted.
It's a great balance.
It's a pretty
And
good team. Like, I can totally imagine Delhi buying this 11 next year.
I don't think
Just
that's it.
great.
That's
So
it.
like, let's reset at the mega auction and get all of these guys. No, there's two other questions we should speak about before we wrap. But I think once we're done, Bakwaskar,
Yeah, I mean, I would just say
talk
my
about.
12th man on the Bakwaskar team. I don't think you guys gave it enough importance is Ridhiman Saha.
Man, you
Because
really after
you
Saha. What
can't
about Manish
average. How can you
Pandey?
average
Tell
15
tell
and
us about
strike at
Manish
118?
Pandey's knock. His single knock in the whole season.
He batted. Manish Pandey is an icon. Don't question Manish Pandey. But how can you bat at what did I say? Saha's numbers were
15 and
one
118.
average of 15 and strike rate of 118. I mean, it's just horrendous.
And he's a wicket keeper backup too, so he's a good 12th.
Yeah, I think he's a good 12th man. DJ Manish Pandey played one innings. Like, what do you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he made 42.
But it was so awful.
It was 42 of
He
31
just
balls.
deserves to make it in there just for
All right.
like.
Well, this was fun. We have our 11, we have our 12 actually. If you're listening on YouTube, put in the comments who we missed, who you disagree with. What would your 11 be of the least successful players of the tournament? Varun, I just love my favorite part of it is you saying no Hardik and then immediately making him captain. What a pivot.
It's like
A
making the
phenomenal
captain.
pivot. All right, DJ, you had a couple other things you wanted to hit before we
Yeah,
wrap?
two things. One, Dinesh Karthik, man, he's done and dusted with the IPL.
Yeah.
He like, I mean, you feel kind of bad because he's been around for a long time. He made his debut a long time ago. He's played every season of the IPL along with Dhoni and Rohit and Virat, I think. And so he's one of those kind of year after year we tune in, right? 16 years in, and I mean he's been doing that year in year out. So congratulations to him on a great season. And he had a decent season and a great career actually, and we look forward to seeing him in the combox because he's actually one of the sparks in the combox and just great to watch. I don't know, Varun. I know you're a big DK fan. Or anything to add?
No, man, just thinking it would have been great if he played another 2 to 3 years and ended up at Chennai. But that's not to be. So well
Uh,
done, DK, man. Like
Yeah.
you've had a great career.
And actually,
and that's
this
a great
show
segue.
this show
Sorry,
started like last thought. This show started at
Nida.
It
the
was a
month of
DK
the Nidahas.
special. Yeah.
And so it's so top of mind and so special for us. Like 6.5 years ago, we started the show when DK went absolutely nuts, and we started saying, "Wait a minute, this guy could be a phenomenal finisher." So, congratulations on a great career.
29 of 8, man. What a knock that was. Unforgettable. But also, Varun, you spoke about he can play 2, 3 more years and finish off at Chennai. Thala for a reason, but Thala for another season. Like, what's going on? There's just rumors about all this. Ashwin's already cringing. He's like, I can't take another season of this yellow stuff. And like, it's too much. But naturally, there's going to be like a mega auction, right? And
Yeah. And
everything's going to change.
yeah, and apparently he's going through a surgery. And so there's a lot going on. Look, I think he's going through some surgery or recovery. And he has 5 6 months to take a final decision. He's not somebody who'll announce it the way we're expecting him to announce it. I think he's built such a status that it's truly his decision. The mega auction is going to cause an issue because if he can't play 3 years, they're going to waste money on retaining him.
Yeah.
And then the spanner in the works is that Stephen Fleming is a name for the India coach, probably. And so, does that open up a spot at CSK for a coach? And So, like I've been maintaining throughout with everybody I speak to, you're going to see him in the dugout next year. In what capacity, we'll find out, I think, in October or November.
Yeah, but also speaking of the coach, I mean, Gautam Gambhir, congrats to him. Like, I've been watching a lot of social media over this IPL, right? He did an interview with Ashwin, which if people haven't watched, not our Ashwin.
That was really helpful.
Uh,
Yeah, really easy to understand.
but like that's kind of single-minded psychopathic devotion to winning, where even Nitish Rana at the end of it said, "I'm really glad to have you in the side," and he's like, "Don't thank me now, thank me after we lift the cup on this date in May." And you almost think that is there something to this dedication that Gambhir has? Is he actually the right person for this job? I mean, the personalities in the dressing room, I don't know. But Kohli seems to have made his peace with him. Rohit has always been okay with him. And maybe he's the one to start winning that silverware again. He's a two-time World Cup winner. He's top scorer in both those World Cup finals. So I don't know, man. Like,
He,
I don't know what you guys
I
think.
feel like he should be there. He just, we've, DJ, you're the one who said it. He has this winning mentality or killer instinct, right, to win. He knows how to do it. He's done it in his time. He's got 4 trophies in his days as a player. He could have been a captain of India. And if not captain of India, this is the next top job. So don't get me wrong, he will be the coach. I just think he should save it for a 2 year period. Like, give the next 2 years to KKR, let Rohit and Kohli bow out, come up with a young team, a new captain, guide them, mentor them, and I think
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen.
Because
That's
it's what
what
happened
should
to
happen.
Justin Langer, right? Like he had this great Australian team and he had that mentality of being this great Australian player, and that clashed with these youngsters quite a lot.
Yeah.
So Pat Cummins, and I've been watching the test. The season 3 has just come out, and you can see like Pat Cummins now owns the team, which whereas there was a lot more Justin Langer in the first season. Anyway, just a
Yeah,
thought.
yeah. Lots we could discuss. We do have to wrap. I don't think we did talk Pat Cummins. We talked a lot about Shreyas Iyer. Got to give full credit to Cummins, although he came short. First season as skipper. I mean, expensive buy. Got some flack early on, and then pulled through. Similar to Mitchell Stark, very very expensive buy. And although we made fun of him for the season, and his season wide stats still aren't great, he finished strong, and that's what matters. Gents,
Both those
thank you.
guys were paid, just by the way, both those guys were paid more than the entire KKR team for
That is
winning the
just
trophy.
an
Anyway,
insane stat. Just absolutely insane stat.
fantasy.
DJ, do you have the
Fantasy.
fantasy open? You want to read through our
Yeah,
top final winners?
I've got it, and you've been doing the fantasy update for the last few weeks, right?
Yeah.
But ONS108 has won the whole show with 38,715 points, very closely followed by Win to You, who's a CSK fan but calls himself a Green Devil, with 38,599 points. And the podium is rounded off by I am Vishal Pujari with 38,398 points. Bishnoi Boy, unfortunately, has just fallen out of the top three, ends at 4. Uncle Sam ends at 5. And I say that unfortunately as like we're not even in the top 10, any of us. So this has like been a fantastic effort. Ping Pong gets number 6. Cow Corner gets number 7. Vengeance gets number 8. Pratt 165 gets number 9. And Dynamite gets number 10 to round off the top 10. I am at 15th spot. Not bad. Varun at 20th and Ashwin.
Don't scroll. It's fine. You don't have to scroll that far.
Wow. Have I missed you or are we still going?
No, I'm
Okay.
pretty
I
far down.
think I've yeah, I
Where am I
think
at
I've
anyways?
got you with the
I'm in
people
30.
that
I'm on
aren't actually
39.
playing. Okay, fair enough.
So I made the
Yeah,
top
there
40.
you are.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. Top half.
Yeah. Guys,
Come on.
deep breath. IPL season is over. We're 6 days away from USA versus Canada to kick off the T20 World Cup. So we will be back next week to talk more of a full World Cup preview, talk about the Indian side, etc. This is the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. We're at One Tip One Hand on all the social medias, at One Tip One Hand at gmail.com as well. If you want to email us anything, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and send us in your comments. We read every single one. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you both for joining. It has been a fun way to relive IPL 2024. We got a 8 months or so till the auction and 6 days to the World Cup, like I said. So we will be back next week with another episode of Edges and Sledges. Thank you for joining us.